Hey, welcome to that Kilted Guy videos, and today we're gonna rip apart a whole bunch of stuff. We're gonna test 3 types of joint tape: mesh tape, paper tape, and Fibafuse, using 2 different kinds of joint compound, and we're gonna do that right after this. Hey, welcome to my channel here at that Kilted Guy videos, and if you want to learn how to do your own home improvement projects yourself, you want to learn how to do things like drywall repairs and much more, and you want to learn how to do it right, be sure and subscribe and click that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos, because it's my goal here on that Kilted Guy videos to show you how to do it right. In today's video, we're going to do something that's more fun than educational, but I think you're going to learn some things from it. I'm actually going to change how I do drywall taping and finishing after seeing some of the results that I've already seen in this video. Some of these tests actually shocked me, so I think you're going to be surprised too, and maybe a little bit shocked yourself. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do 7 different tests. Hey, don't forget to tell them about the bonus test, you know. The bonus test. Oh yeah, the bonus test. Okay, yeah, I'll tell them about that. Don't worry. Get out of here. I gotta go. Finish telling them about it. I'll catch you later. All right, let me tell you about the bonus test we're gonna do. Actually, I'm not gonna tell you exactly what I'm gonna do. These are just some bonus tests I'm gonna throw in somewhere in this video, some other ones I thought of along the way, and I think you'll find those fun too, so be sure and stay tuned for all of the tests. Remember, we're gonna do 7 different tests here, so be sure and watch all of them so that you get to see the final results, make up your mind which one's the better product and which one sucked. And of course, one of the reasons I decided to do this video is there's so much controversy among drywallers about which joint tape is the best. A lot of guys say mesh tape sucks, it'll always crack, and you got to do it this way and you got to do it that way, and paper tape's the best, and Fibafuse is the newest, greatest thing, and so we're just going to put them through their paces for a little bit of fun here. Basically, the 7 tests are going to be what I call a flex test, a vibration test, a tape lift test dry, tape lift test wet, joint shear strength, and tape cut resistance. Now I'll go into more detail when we start each one of those tests, what we're going to do. Okay, so what I've done to set up here is, you can see in the little short video, I went through and cut up a whole bunch of pieces of rock. I think it was 48 pieces. And the object is we're going to tape all these together in various ways so that we can test the 3 different kinds of joint tape: the paper tape, the mesh tape, and the Fibafuse. And we're going to use regular green label all-purpose mud that we often use for taping. And we're going to use hot mud. And we're going to put them through some different tests. So to walk you through those tests real quick, on the flex test, basically we're going to take this tape together 2 pieces of rock, we're going to put it in a jig, we're going to just bend it up on one side and see how far it'll go up before we get a crack right here. And then we're just going to keep pulling and see what happens. You'll be kind of surprised at what happened. I was. For test number 2, the vibration test. Well, what we're going to do there is put this in a vibrating tray I made. We're going to vibrate it in some different ways and see if those vibrations can make it crack. And then for the tape lift test, that's what we have set up here. We're going to try and lift each one using a scale. And I've got 2 different scales here. One goes up to 80 pounds and the other one goes up to 2,000 pounds. So I think we can get plenty of force on these things, and we're just going to see what it takes to lift these and pull them loose, if they even will, or will they just tear. That's the dry test. Then we're going to wet the next batch, and we're going to see how they hold up underwater. And I'll explain what the purpose of each of these tests is as we go. So like right here we have Fibafuse all-purpose, and then hot mud. Paper all-purpose, paper hot mud, mesh all-purpose, and mesh hot mud. So I built this testing rig here, and it actually took me a lot of work, and it's the best way for me to do this. So we're going to clamp onto these things and pull until we get them to just rip straight away. So for the tape strength, this is what we're going to do. Now for the joint shear strength test, we're actually going to take these pieces as we have them here, and using this stand that I built, we're going to clamp it in at the top, then we're going to clamp it at the bottom, Then we're going to pull down using the scale that goes up to 2,000 pounds. So that the purpose is we're going to try and pull straight down and just see how much it takes to rip them apart. I think that one's going to be pretty fun. The final one is the tape cut resistance. And on that one, we're basically just going to see how resistant each one of these are to cutting. Because as many of you know, we're using these joint knives that often get kind of sharp, and it's not too uncommon to accidentally cut your tape. And then after I do each test, I'm trying to learn how to do these tests better. So if you think I did something wrong or I could do it better, or if you have ideas for other tests you'd like to see me do, let me know in the comments. I want to get into doing more of these fun tests. I'm still going to teach how to do drywall repairs and all that kind of stuff, but I want to get into some of these fun tests. Hey, and be sure and stick around to the end of this video because I actually have some questions I want to ask you guys, and these are serious questions. I would really value your input. So I really appreciate it if you'll take the time to check out the end of the video and the questions I have for you. Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to switch to my other camera. You can see it, it's waiting right here. We're going to put this in here and give you a close-up view so that you can see close up what's happening and you can see better when it cracks. So I'm going to change cameras and we'll get going. Okay, we're ready to get going. All right, and what I did is I'm going to do a little experiment. I sprayed a little bit of this Rust-Oleum hammered paint on here in the hopes that it'll help you guys see it better and maybe you can see the crack better. Plus what I did is I scratched right here and right here. That tells you where the center line of the joint is, so you know where to look to see things happen. So let's start with the first one, which is paper tape and all-purpose, and start raising it. As far as I can tell, it's just bending, it's not cracking. You can see we've got quite a bit of bend here, and I still can't see a crack in it. So you can see a faint hint of a low area right through here. Still don't see any cracking. Okay, let's keep going. Well, what it's doing is it's lifting it up off my wedges, so we're just bending it. So I'm just going to keep bending here and see how far we can go, and you can see the gap right here. Let's see if I lowered this back down. There it cracks. It just cracked. Yeah, you can see that on camera. So it's able to go up a lot, but once it comes back, it cracks. So let's just go ahead and go a little more upward. There we go. We finally have failure at about, let's measure it this way. Going up, we have failure at about a 5. So now we're going to just take it a little further and just see what happens if I bend it all the way up. Finally, we get complete delamination. That tape is good and stiff. So I made sure I had plenty of mud under it, and you can see it's actually got plenty of mud under it, so that's not the problem. It just reached its limit there, delaminated, and I could probably pull the rest off like that. Comes off cleanly, so that was interesting. Okay, we're ready for round 2 with paper tape and hot mud. So here we go. So since last time the wedge idea didn't work exactly great, after a little bit, I'm just going to start lifting it, and then we'll measure it with this like we did last time. Okay, I just heard a little crack, and we are at about 3.5 roughly. Now I'm gonna let it down and see if that crack appears. There it is. So hot mud, it only made it to 3.5. I suspected this partly because hot mud is so much stiffer. It's stronger, but it's also stiffer. It's not gonna flex as much. So let's go ahead and do the lifting test and see how the adhesion is. Right there, I can really feel it breaking. So it just is gonna bend and tear. So no delamination on this one. It's stuck. It looks like it's stuck better, but we got another test for that. But it did completely tear off. Okay, the next test is the Fibafuse and all-purpose. Okay, I haven't heard anything, but it feels like it has cracked, and we're at about 3.5 again. So let's lower it and take a look. And it cracks when we lower it. So pretty similar results. So now let's just keep lifting and see what happens. It's getting pretty firm right there. Don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear it tearing or something. I think it's going to tear right there. Well, as I suspected, this Fibafuse is pretty tough stuff, so it's got a lot of flexibility to it, more so than paper tape. Finally starting to break a little bit right there. Okay, see, this is still got a little bit of strength, but it's finally starting to tear there. I was able to rip it, but you can kind of see, here you see those hairs sticking out? That's the fibers of the Fibafuse. Now in another test, we're gonna see about pulling these loose like that. So we'll test how well it's stuck in the next test. Okay, the next test is Fibafuse and hot mud. Okay, I can barely hear it. It kind of sounds like it's cracking, so we're gonna say, again, 3.5. But let's lower it and see if it cracks coming down. Nope, it actually didn't, so let's keep going. There we have a hairline crack. So I would say that was right about there where I was pulling on it. So we might have got it up to 4 before we got that hairline crack. So let's keep going. Again, we're getting lots of flexibility, even with the hot mud on there, which I kind of thought the hot mud would snap more. There might be pieces breaking off here. So I'm kind of surprised. But I think at this point I could pull it apart fairly easy. It's weakened it to that point, so there we go. On to the next one. Okay, now we're ready for the mesh tape and all-purpose. Okay, I hear a little bit of sound like cracking there, so I'm gonna double check it. It's only at 2. And there is a crack. Hopefully you can see that on camera. It's a hairline crack, but it's there. So there's an example of why mesh tape and all-purpose don't go together, I would say. but let's keep going with it. It's got good flexibility, no surprise. But when we lower it back down, we see a hump. It's pulling the mud up over here and a major crack. So it is definitely totally failed there. That's actually not good. It's got a double crack even. Yeah, I think you can see that. So that's really kind of proof to me. Hopefully the all-purpose holds up better, but we'll see. Let's keep going on pull here. And it's got lots of flexibility. It's still got really good strength because that woven design is pretty tough and it's a little thicker than the Fibafuse. Okay, you can see total flexibility, make a good hinge for something, and decent strength. There, we finally got it to come out, and that's with all purpose. Okay, now we're ready for the mesh tape and hot mud test. So here we go. Okay, I haven't heard anything, I can't see anything, but we're at about 3, so let's lower it and see what happens. No, I don't see anything, so it's doing good. Okay, we're now at 4 and I still can't see anything, so we're just going to manually lift here. I might have heard it there. Let's measure it. We're at 5. Let's lower it and see. Yep, we have a crack, so I think we made it to 5 before we got a hairline crack. So let's go ahead and do the lift test again. This is taking a bit more effort to lift it until it's got a little stiffer nature to it with the hot mud on there. So if I lower it right now, we have one big crack. It just opened up is all. But it's not humped like before, much better than the all-purpose. So same thing, we're just widening it because we're pinching those together. But still got pretty decent strength. It's got good resistance right there. Same thing, really no noticeable double hump, no double crack, anything like that. So okay, I'd say that did much better. Now let's see how it does here. I don't know if I can pull it apart. I probably can. Let's see. Well, it's really tough. We're going to do a test that is a shear test where we're going to pull down like that with a lot of weight, but I can tell you that is quite strong right there. So I'd say that's the strongest of the test batch so far. I'm having a hard time tearing it. I'm gonna have to tear from one corner. If I pull evenly, it's moving my whole jaw horse here. So, oh, finally. And you can see it actually pulled the fibers out of the mud on the other side, but nothing broke along here. That's pretty good testimonial if you ask me. That was a strong joint. Okay, here's some of the questions I want to ask you guys, and I'd really appreciate your input down below because I'm looking to do a lot more testing videos. I still want to do teaching videos showing you how to do all the basics of drywall and things like that, but I want to throw in some fun testing videos. So like just with this stand alone, I think we could have some fun testing things like we could test a bunch of glues, say construction adhesives.
Super glue, spray adhesives, wood glues, hot glues, all those kind of things. We could test different kinds of tape, the adhesion of, say, the masking tapes. We could test a line of duct tapes. We could test fasteners, like I want to test drywall anchoring things, more like drywall nails. There's the old smooth drywall nail, ring shank drywall nails, and drywall screws. We could test those.
Another thing I want to test is the adhesion level of different muds. So say the green label all-purpose that kind of sort of failed in one test on this one, and then test that with the Mud Max, I think it is, additive, or a different type of mud additive that increases the adhesion. We could test that against hot mud, for example, and see if they have different adhesions. And I could test it against the lightweight all-purpose. We could also test for things like the shrinkage of the different muds. We could test for the sandability. How much harder is one to sand than the other? I do plan on testing the difference between 1/2-inch sheetrock and 5/8. I actually want to do some fun tests. I have a couple of cool guns, and I can't do a gun video on here because YouTube doesn't like that. So what I would do is put that separate testing on my Patreon page where they do allow it. For example, I've got a 22-250 that's the fastest gun out there. It shoots at like 4,000 feet per second. It's a 22 caliber, but it is super fast. I'm curious how many layers of sheetrock it'll take to stop it. I have actually shot through 1/2-inch thick steel before and had it just blow through it like it was hot butter. We could do different types of weapons. So if you're interested in seeing that test, that's another one. Also, another idea for a test is a lot of guys all through my career, I've seen a lot of people mix different muds. For example, you might mix 5-minute with 20-minute. And I would like to test and see if these different mixtures cause any problems with adhesion, strength. Does it just make it go crazy? Another mixing combo is a lot of dish soap and mud. I've done a little bit of that, but I've seen some where they just put a ton in, and I really think it's gonna weaken your mud. We could test that. So if you guys have any other ideas for crazy fun videos, just things you're curious about, list them all below. So tell me what you think down below, and maybe we'll do some of those.